I think our interest in unconventionality and willing to be experimental. For me, that's the thing that kind of like turns me on musically, is to do something that maybe I haven't done, or do things in a way that I haven't done in the past. That's always really interesting, challenging, but interesting. Those kinds of qualities are what keeps my head like in the game. I love that feeling of like encountering like art in general, where it's just I'm just left with mad questions. I don't really look to art for like answers, but I like art that like gives me questions.
Microphone check, 1 2. What is this? It's the 5'7" assassin in the podcast business. I am your host, Rohan Patra, the rap music plug at your service. Here we are again at the end of a rainbow. Today's guests, Elucid and Sebb Bash, may come from very different backgrounds, but they share one core thing in common. Experimentation is their middle name, both pulling from the fundamental tenets of the past while simultaneously pushing the art form to places it's never been before. Sebb and Elucid were born to make music together. And luckily for us, they finally delivered their new collaborative album, I Guess You Had to Be There, on Backwoodz Studioz, and are here today to talk about what makes their creative chemistry so special, Sebb Bash's signature sound, Elucid's mindset underpinning the joyful and triumphant new record, and much, much more. The next hour plus features two of rap's most creative minds chopping it up, with some laughs along the way. How could you possibly not listen on? The Rap Music Plug podcast, presented by QLC TV, is the remedy to the I don't have anything good to listen to problem. Through in-depth artist interviews, album reviews, and general rap commentary on the best that the underground rap scene has to offer, this is your one-stop shop to knowing what to add to your queue, play next, or pop into your record player. Welcome to the show. Elucid, Sebb Bash, how are you guys doing today?
What's good?
Good,
Chilling,
good.
man.
What up?
Good to talk to you today.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're doing it with both of you, because I feel like if it wasn't when we spoke in 2022, Elucid, it was definitely one of the times we'd spoke as Arm& Hammer, when you were talking about, oh yeah, I'm working on this record with Sebb Bash, and it's been in the works for, a minute now.
Yeah.
And, soon as I'm hearing Bunny Chow, which I've like raved about forever since it came out, like this was a
Mm.
dream collab that,
Oh shit.
and the results were just as incredible as I could have hoped. Like this was one of the most anticipated albums, not only of this year, of just like as soon as I heard it, this was number one
What?
on the list.
Wow, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Roy has been digging it.
That shit changed. And that obviously introduced me to your work that I had heard and maybe didn't know that was you necessarily. And goddamn,
Thank you, bro. I'm trying.
even the Ty Ferris record. I don't know if that came after Bunny Chow. I think it probably
Uh,
did, right? I think it was the same year, 2022.
I don't remember years like that on the stuff that I do, but
Yeah, it was around that time. I remember hearing that.
I'll tell you exactly what year Cool and the Gang album came out though.
Yeah, but even since then I was bumping that record. I was like, man, this is crazy. I can't wait for you guys to team up. So this is just awesome, awesome.
Dope.
And there's so many beats that are just incredible, which we'll obviously get into. So many amazing quotables, memorable lines on I Guess You Had to Be There. But I wanted to start with this one because it's just like I don't know if you've coined this term, but like what does it mean to be on farmer time?
uh, it's just like I think when I said I'm on farmer time, it's like a reflection of like just pulling from my life, like literally like every day I'm up with the sun, like every day. Maybe sometimes even before the sun if I hadn't really slept well, because it's about like waking up, and then I have a family, so it's like preparing for the day for children and like, yeah, I'm up, like, let's go, but also I love that. I think I kind of like said something similar to like my waking habits, maybe in what's the name of that song from
Betamax?
Revelator. Nah,
Oh,
on
right.
Revelator, Voice to Skull, I'm up before everyone. What do you say? I'm up losing my mind before everyone, or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, it's like it's the routine. It really is the routine.
When do you wake up typically? Like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. type thing?
5:30,
Oh,
6.
wow. Okay, you're one of those. Okay,
Yeah, like 6 a.m.
impressive.
It's like the every day, and then a little bit earlier if I'm not really sleeping well that night. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's I was never really like this. I was never really like this until, children came, but it's like, just finding time. That quiet time is ill. It's a quiet time that's just for myself. There's no one up, and then I can do whatever, like, and then begin the day, getting things together. But yeah, just for myself, I used to, like, when there was just one of the kids, I used to be able to like get up and make music. And this is the days of like Rome and Paraffin. A lot of those verses were written at like 6 in the morning, for real, like, with a pregnant wife, or the kid like a newborn. A lot of those verses were written very early in the morning. So yeah, I've become to like love that quiet morning time as opposed to like the all night studio thing, which is what was the norm, you know.
mm,
There's
So
some weird shit going on in the morning. Like when you make music in the
yeah,
morning, it's like a I can't really put my finger on it. Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm kind of like the opposite of Chaz. Like I'm more like a night dude, but I'm like a 36-hour guy. I spend a whole day and
endurance.
a half in the studio,
Yeah,
but not so much this year, but like the last few years, like the last 10 years, I would do a lot of times. I do the 36-hour thing where I'm like so into the stuff, I keep going and keep going and keep going, and my cycles always change, and I don't know if it's fucking up my health or not. Maybe probably a little bit, but I'm kind of like an all or nothing guy. Like I
mm,
might do 8 beats a day for like weeks, and then like nothing for like 2 weeks. You know. So yeah, I kind of
that's
like
fascinating. It's an interesting headspace to like if you're saying, especially some of the lines I'm thinking of on Paraffin and Rome, like writing that at like 6 a.m. in the morning is just, I don't know, that's just fucking with me a bit. That's crazy.
yeah,
Cause I definitely think it's something. I'm also like Seb. I'm like a night person. I definitely want to be less because it's not like I can tell it's affecting my health. Like I need 8 hours. When I was living with an ex, even just that, we didn't have kids obviously, but even just that, she would go to work 9 to 5 at a bank during the week, and then she was at home and would sleep until like 11:30 or 12 on Saturdays. That period of time from like 9 a.m. to 2 was so nice. I felt like I was like that's when I would
right.
record the podcast pretty
yeah,
much all the time, whether it was like doing an interview or like at that time I would do reviews a lot. It was such a nice time. And that's like the only time in my life I was really a morning person. And then now I've like, since I don't need to as much now, I'm back to my old ways. But
I feel that. I feel that. Today was like a blessing because it's Saturday, so I was able to sleep in a little bit.
hmm
But yeah, the morning is like, I don't know, things just, I feel like just like shifting. It's coming into play. You're in this dream state, you're in this REM state, and then you're just like here, and everything's kind of gathering, and it feels slow, and it's just like I just feel like I could take my time. Like if I didn't have reminders, I feel like I would just get lost in that thing in the morning, versus the night. It feels a little different now. Feels a little different. It
hmm
feels like after a whole day of like information processing, decision. Like sometimes when it gets to nighttime, I just want to like fucking chill out and do nothing at all. And it's like the brain is like moving opposite for me. The brain is moving opposite at night. It's like trying to like slow down and like let's maybe even sleep. But if I don't want to
Yeah.
sleep, let's just super chill. But in the morning, it's just like, yo, let's build it up. But yeah,
I've been enjoying sleep lately. You know how like sometimes we love doing these music things so much. It's like, I don't want to sleep. I don't want to sleep. Why do I have to go to sleep? I don't know. 2026, I've been enjoying my bed, bro. Oh my God. This shit is it's
it's
incredible.
important, dog. It's important. Yo, Puffy lied to us, man. They lied to us. You know, the grind culture, the hustle don't sleep, the game don't stop.
Fuck that.
I don't know, dog.
Yeah.
Like, you wanna play the next game? Like, you wanna have the energy to play the next game for real? Like, what? You got to. You really got to. You stunt all sorts of physical and mental health and growth avoiding sleep. It's crazy. You're gonna be out here short circuiting.
100%. And I was also listening to Betamax, and I thought that's where you were gonna mention it. Although I don't think this reference is maybe the same, but you mentioned being a farmer on that song too, where you're like, "Free the
I'm a
land, I'm a
farmer in a
farmer in a
skyscraper.
skyscraper,
Farmer in a
eternal
I mean,
timetable."
that's just a goal. I fuck with
Yeah.
farming. I fuck with farming. It ties into my, this idea of um, like a political worldview. You know what I mean? Like I wish I had land to farm. Like I wish black folks in this country, we own enough land to farm to be self sustaining. Like that's the ultimate goal, right? And you know,
Mm,
thing about like self sustaining, like damn, where's the land at? I live in New York City. There isn't not much arable land here. Where do we go?
Mm.
Build up. You know what I mean? I look up, I see a sky. I see at the time. I feel like when I wrote that, when did that come out? 20.
2022.
All right. So like this is like post COVID or in COVID, and I remember like New York City, because COVID obviously, and empty skyscrapers. Like no one's at work. And he'd be
Mm.
like, the lights are on though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this is an available space where if we had like the technology and just the access resources, like we could actually make a farm in this building and grow 90 stories high. Like I don't know,
Mhm.
it was just a daydream, but I was like, yo, maybe.
It's
Rapper
yeah,
talk, that rapper shit, you know?
that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
good.
Yeah, and so Seb, I'm particularly excited that this is your first time on the show, and I've been in awe on of your beats, like I've been saying earlier, for the fact that they just feel really alive, like they just feel
Hmm.
so like have a life of their own, and you have a very unique background as a Swiss native, but then in a place that doesn't have the same kind of hip hop infrastructure and culture as other places. You were a central figure in, building up that scene as a creator, as a DJ. But you've also been well traveled. I understand that you've lived in the States for, significant periods of time too. And so I'm curious, like, what was your entry point to hip hop? And when it clicked to you that pursuing music production would be one of your like main professional pursuits in life?
If you wanna, I guess so. And I always say that's the only benefit of being old is that I can say at least I know the hip hop thing. I know from back in the '80s, so I always say yeah, I'm glad to be old because of that. At least I got to sort of see it emerging. As far as like, I guess I think from what I know of hip hop's history in Europe, I think it's first started really um invading in '82. I think they had this famous tour, Zulu Nation type thing. Some graffiti artists. I think they came through London and Paris, if I'm not mistaken. And I think after that, there was sort of like a rap esque thing bubbling on the radio, and I was a kid that was already kind of like searching, just like eager for any music, and tape deck style, like listening to the radio, doing getting blanks and just hitting rec and pause anytime, and so
Pause
it wasn't
tapes.
like, yeah, not really pause tapes, but just having the 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 shit ready to go in case anything ill to me
It
at
came
that
on the
age.
radio.
Anyways, no, I'm
True.
like 8 years old at that time, 7, 8, maybe not 7, 8. I'm like 8, so I start taping stuff, and I was already doing the late night thing, even in school. I probably sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning for no reason, just listening to the radio, reading comics. and way past my parents' bedtime. Like they already sleeping for hours, and I'm making these cassettes. And one day, I, I guess back in the days, it was like anything goes. I tell you before the hip hop thing, I tell you about other shit I might have been bumping. I think I always say I think it went straight from like the kiddie type of records, shit for the kids, or whatever local kid records were. And then like my dad started like hitting me. My dad is a teacher, and for some reason he would always come back with like bags of comics that his students were like giving him, or he was buying it from them. I have no
Comics a
clue.
big thing.
Ill comics, and then, like
Never made it
Belgium,
in your class. He's like, nope.
hmm Belgium and France got the ill comic scene. It's like super classic
Mm.
comic stuff. So I was reading those, and he would also bring like these mixtapes that the not mixed, but kind of like a bunch of, I guess, stuff that his students must either recorded from the 45s or on radio or whatever, whatnot. And it was like Genesis, Alan Parson Project, like weird, like ambitious early 80s power, not power pop. I don't know what's Genesis. Like, you could call it jazz, you could call it rock, you could call it fusion, you could call it. I feel like at the time, I don't even know how you call it, but it was those big, like super expensive records that they was doing. 81, 82. They was getting mad ambitious, spending already probably
Mm-hmm.
$1 million to make a big maybe a couple $1 million to make a crazy record. And those records had all the synthesizers in it. It was the This is what's so crazy. Like I felt like in the 80s, I was kind of like there wasn't so much hip hop, so I had to kind of like cling on to anything that felt cool. So it was kind of like some proto digging in a sense. Like it wasn't I didn't know anything. I just was like, ooh, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Because for us, like to go into the hip hop thing, my first thing was like the basically taping some hip hop from the radio. Somebody was scratching. I was like, what the fuck is that? Why is the record going back and forth? Really simple. Like every other record is going straight. Why is this shit going back and forth and back and forth? It was Grandmaster Flash, The Adventures of Grandmaster Flash at the Wheels of Steel, which is one of the first record with somebody cutting up breaks. It came out in 81, and I must have heard it by 83. I taped that, and it was the only hip hop shit I ever heard. And it's so funny. I took that tape and I hid it in my comics. Like, yeah, all my other tapes are on this side. This the regular shit, but this cassette with the this is going. I'm hiding this shit, and it's the mystery tape. I have to resolve this enigma. And a year later, um, France had the first hip hop show on TV, I think, in the world. It was called HIPHOP, hip hop.
That was the name of the show.
Yep, every Sunday afternoon, I think 2 o'clock or something. This dude, first black host on French TV called Sydney. He was like, instead of talking to the crowd, he would rap everything he was saying. He would rap it in French, and had dudes breaking, dudes in the back doing graffiti, and it wasn't even like phony. Like it looks phony a little bit. It's like corny if you look at it now, but those were the guys. It wasn't like, oh, they try to recuperate it. Like, nah, it was that dude is still official to this day. But like, yeah, so it
Mm.
went from I don't know what this shit is to, oh, it's on TV, it's in France, they speak my language. That shit was like huge, huge. And then Beat Street came out, and that was it. Those three things: that first tape, TV show, and then the movie, bruh. I was done.
Yeah, I wasn't even born, man. I wasn't born yet. I was on my way. That early '80s, I was on my way. Um, but yeah, that shit is crazy. Like just like the journey. Somebody like Africa Bambaataa and like the Zulu Nation, how that shit just like pops up in New York, all the way across the water. Of course, it would be like London and Paris, like some of the
Yeah.
more cosmopolitan cities in Europe, you know, and then just like explode there because it's real true shit and people just, it's so foreign and so strange
Mm.
that people are just like attracted to it in like a real big way. I was kind of tripping off when he said the first time he heard a scratch and like what that would do to someone's brain. Like you had never heard it and now you heard this alien sound. Like, and I'm trying to think like when's the last time I had that feeling? You know, I think about like I would love to create those feelings or those new kind of things for someone else, but like when's the last time I heard something I had never heard before ever? You know?
Yeah,
Uh
I'm trying to think what that would have been because obviously that wouldn't have been my introduction. My introduction was like early 2000s, I guess Eminem, 50 Cent, like those
yeah,
kind of guys. I
yeah,
don't know what that moment would have been. I probably had them maybe with some other genres, like I don't know, hip hop. I guess it's different, right? Because hip hop was introduced to me as kind of like a form of pop music, so I kind of like
sure.
implicitly knew this was popular and therefore like normal. So
Yeah,
I'm like, oh yeah, they're rapping. I don't know if I had that moment initially. I'm sure I had it with like other experimentations later.
I get that. That makes a whole lot of sense. The way how it was introduced to you definitely probably like shifted that perspective. As you were
Yeah,
talking, I was thinking about like Eminem though, and like I'm not like the hugest Eminem fan, though I do like respect him, especially like the earlier stuff.
yeah,
Because I feel like when a young Eminem, like what he was doing with like words, there were other people doing it, but like yeah, the people that could do that, it was so elevated.
yeah,
It was just like this was when like the late '90s might have been the last era of when you could I don't know whatever. These guys were doing awe-inspiring shit. And it
yeah,
was just like people could really tell and people really respected, like, wow, like I'm looking up at this rapper. This is like genius, you know? And Eminem was definitely one of those characters from that time period doing shit that no one else could actually, many people could not do, you know?
yeah, yeah. There's this guy on Instagram that's getting popular, where he's just like Eminem, nobody. It's one of those like meme formats, like nobody Eminem in the '90s, and he just does this like fake Eminem verse, but like using all his like old school
Yeah,
things. And I'm like, damn, like this shit's actually is fire. Like I
yeah,
remember why I liked Eminem, like
yeah,
Marshall Mathers, Eminem show. I did think had some good shit, but it also had some kind of like really overtly pop stuff that was starting to get kind of grating. But those
yeah.
first three are solid.
Yeah, I feel like that was the record where he started rapping with the voice of Triumph, the insult comedy dog. Whenever that
Yeah.
happened, I was
Ken
like,
Kniff, yeah, or
I'm
whatever the
done.
fuck, yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the era. That was the cutoff there for me.
Alright, so, Seb, now that you're back, like, one thing I'm curious, like, what was you guys through all your collaborations from the moment, I first heard a track with the 2 of you, it feels like you're speaking a similar language, and I just feel like you're in sync, and so, there's this strong synergy between the art. Like I feel like the way you both your beats and the way you rhyme, Lucid's like shape shifting, ever evolving, never static, refusal to hide behind convention. Like, what do you think is that binding agent or that like similar creative ethos that makes your connection work and so special?
I think it's just I think our interest in unconventionality and willing to be experimental. I think that's the thing that for me, that's the thing that kind of like turns me on musically is to do something that maybe I haven't done or do things in a way that I haven't done in the past. That's always really interesting, challenging, but interesting, you know? Those kinds of qualities are what keeps my head like in the game. And I feel like just looking through Seb's record collection, I mean, I kind of like assume things because I've heard the fleshed out beats or whatever. But like when I got to his studio and I looked in his record collection, all my shit was confirmed. He has like really strange records, man. Like really like oddball ears. You know what I mean? It's like who's listening to this shit? Like there may have been 30 of this particular vinyl pressed, small press little thing, and it might be like 30 seconds of like gong bells. And then it's just like some talking in some like strange language. And then it might be like, you know what I mean? It's just like, what is this shit? But I love that feeling. I love that feeling of like encountering like art in general, where it's just I'm just left with mad questions. I don't really look to art for like answers, but I like art that like gives me questions. Um,
This is why it works.
and that's yeah, that's what's interesting to me.
This is why it works. Like to me, like when you came through in November, we did this extra, the bonus EP thing. Remember I told you I had like some records saved up for you, like that I was digging for like a few couple years, and I was like, all right, this is Elucid Arm and Hammer. That stack is on the side for, and I think it has to do with I think I get your quirkiness. What is it? It's just the fact that you open to so much, like a lot of times, like I feel like if a traditional rap dude was in the stew and I would play some of that shit, he'd look at me like I don't know how else to say, but like, yo, what the fuck is this crazy white boy doing? Like it's because rap is traditionally more jazzy and funky and soulful, and sometimes it goes a little bit left. But once I feel like
Yeah,
once you cross that like Melly Mel white line, like you cross the white line and it gets too white, and like you get you a fucking weirdo from Liverpool is like saying some weird shit over some drum machine. It's like there's no soul left in a certain sense. But I do hear either soul in it for some reason, certain type of soul, or I'm like, yo, that'd be ill if that shit connected with like maybe exactly maybe I can make it a little bit more warm. I don't know. I just love the idea of like meshing up those things. That's like, yo, what? It's already quirky enough in its own right, but then you combine it, and it's like, what the fuck? How those two
yeah.
things came together, and it's even more weird. But it all comes down to the sound, though. I'm like a tuner, bro. That's one of my things. I can always tune things. It started from like you outside in like a car. Somebody gets in his car, and you get that sub bass from the motor, and then there's a honk somewhere, and
Did
you
you
like,
do that on Switchboard?
There's traffic sounds on Switchboard.
there's traffic
Yeah,
sounds.
like that specifically the honk and like the sub bass feel. I feel like that's on like Switchboard. Like where the when Woods comes in
There's a
at
thing.
some point in his
Well,
verse.
I forgot I even did that, but yeah, I didn't. But like I'm saying, like it started from noticing, you can be outside, and the kid goes like, "Hey," and then a car goes like, "Rrr," and then a bird goes like, "Doo-doo-doo," and you're like, "Oh shit, those three things were in key."
Symphony of the World. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
Symphony
you,
of the World.
yeah. So if you can hear that, you can recreate it with any sound, and this is where like when you love doing that, then each record is like a crazy sound bank. It's not just this thing with a stale loop that's not gonna move. Now it's this sound generator. It's almost like a record is like a synthesizer or like a guitar. It's an object that generates sound. So once you start, that this is the type of shit you start thinking of when you too deep into it. You fucked. You've been doing it for like 35 years. You fucked, and this is what it develops into. But interesting.
We love fucked. We love fucked indeed. And like your beats definitely have this like distinctly warm analog texture, but then also is simultaneously juxtaposed with this like very futuristic tomorrow sounding arrangement. Like, do you feel you're kind of talking about you're a tuner? Like, do you feel there's like a signature quote unquote Sebb Bash sound or like some trademarks that you feel define your philosophy towards making beats?
I don't know if it's even up to me to say if I have a sound. That's for people to say, but I do. I have a lot of and this is rare in these days, but you know, back I feel like back then, like a Premiere or somebody like that, they would have shit that would they would do all the time. Like, you know, eight after 8 bars, he'll break up the sample and it's a blank and you just got this little laser sound or like some shit that goes like like you know space effects type stuff and you would just do it all the time. You would just find like a different sound to do it, a different spot, and then you like, you can do your music stuff, but then what you do inside of it, if you start doing it redundantly, it could, like you said, it can be like a trademark. And I think I have that. There's like things that I always do that people don't do. Trying to find examples. Some stuff I might even not want to reveal, but yeah, I do have stuff like that. That you know, it's like formulas. Like some shit one day I was like, huh, it'd be kind of slick to do it this way or that way. And then it went from, I want to say it's kind of like a cross between the DJ shit and the production shit to where like you manipulating records so freely all the time that you start thinking of like, oh, I can actually go from A to Z. Like I don't have to, I can scratch a sound in. I can just, you know, kind of like those turntable records they had, like the old Qbert, and back then they used to do records like that.
Mm.
They make a whole record like, and then they put a bass line over it. It's like, you know, that's the way to produce. Like I always say, like if you know, like the old school dudes, like, no, I want to sample in the MPC and make the beat in the MPC, and then I'm like, yo, if you're gonna make a beat and all you do is add one sound just for ambiance, you don't need to sample it. If it's gonna go in the computer, just throw that shit in the fucking computer live.
Mm.
You don't need to sample everything. What if it makes sense? So yeah, little trademarks like that. Just getting bored, just trying to put a new bass line to a loop. Anything that makes it sound. You know, you can make a loop sound like 8 bars, the same loop, just by changing the bass.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like there are hard to put your kind of finger on it, but there are some like the way your drums swing, the bass lines, the analog texture. The texture generally, I think, is kind of like a real like selling point for your music. Like, you know, like those warm bass, I think they're like bass guitar sounds on First Light on the album's intro, like just so
That's real
just you can
bass.
really it's just yeah, that's did you yeah, it's just it just sounds incredible. And you
With
know,
you know
likewise
what?
for
With
you,
the I
Elucid.
want to go back to the thing you said about the drums because there's one thing I want to point out is that I do play
Yeah.
drums. I know how to play drums. I don't really play drums, but I know how to play drums. And I wanted to play drums as a kid because no, I guess I played drums because I was annoying my parents banging on shit, and they was like, "You might as well, you know, play actual drums." But when I started playing drums, I got this inner. Not everybody got a groove. That's my point. Like some people, they like on the MPC, like looking for a
Mm,
groove. Like let me push this and that. If you have a groove, all you have to do is just find how to get down on your machine where this is your speed. Everybody got a speed. I think every musician got a speed, like a certain length that he likes. You know, like between the kick and the snare, like but this, all these distances, right? Or how some people like to
yeah.
play tight. Some people like to play more loose. Some people like to play unprecisely. So there's all kinds of pockets. So I think once you have a pocket and it's really yours and you can feel it, it's almost I hear it right now. It's like a fucking clock, internal clock that's running. Once you have that shit, bro, like this is you never really looking for a groove. You just apply how your shit. Once your head start doing this, you on the MP and your shit, and you about you're not even like it's not even the head nod. It's more like I start like fucking leaning, bro. Because you can tell it's like wind. You catch a drift. Like
Yeah.
it's like ooh, oh, you know. It's hard to explain.
No, that's a great way of putting it. And you know, for you, Elucid, like as an MC, What grabs your ear when you listen to a Sebb Bash beat that feels like very distinctly his?
For me, first, like you mentioned, it's the texture. It's how it feels. It's unlike a lot of music that is made. And I feel the tech. I hear the texture, and then I think about like how is this made, because it's not. Yeah, everyone has a lot of the same toolkits, and a lot of music sounds identical to my ear because I've just been doing this long enough, and I've been around many people that make work that work in many different ways, so I can identify when I know if this sound and this beat. It you probably made it on this, didn't you? Like, but the way Seb produces, it's like pretty much his own, and it's a little unorthodox, and it's like a mix of a few different things. So it's that the sound choices, the sample choices, always really really interesting. Like, what is that? Is that a sample? Is it a synthesizer? Is it a gong? Is it play? Like, I don't know. So again, all these questions, and I'm just like, let me listen more. Let me listen again. And it's like he's got really unique sense of rhythm. Um, and yeah, like I just hear pockets. I hear pockets where my voice can go, and it's really easy. It's always been really easy writing and rapping to Sebb Bash beats from the very first time. I think might have been, what was that? Stocking Caps off the High Bias tape. That might have been the first time.
Archie Caps.
The things from I Told Bessie. It's always been
Woo!
really easy. So yeah, just finding those pockets is just glove in hand for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember when we spoke in 2022, you mentioned how that Bunny Chow beat had sort of like this traditional boom bap feel to it in some way, but then the rhythm was just like tweaked the fuck out.
Yeah, man, that's a Sebb Bash. That's a Sebb Bash signature. I think it's like a very retro future kind of sound. Like when you hear him talk about like rap, he's talking about his earliest memories of rap. Like I can hear that in the music, and then I also hear like a future tomorrow sound that's kind of like uncertain and kind of like, what is that thing? I love that. I love that sort of clash. That middle ground there is like really interesting for like ideas. It's a breeding ground for like whatever's next. Like, let's go.
You know what's
Mm,
so crazy to
Yeah.
me? What's so crazy to me is that a lot of people, and that's what I love about Elucid, understanding what I do so well, is that I think like when you basically my shit come from digging in the crates. Like it was always like I said, the '80s. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was searching, so that's a form of digging. And then once I seen the fucking MTV raps with Show and AG and Finesse and Diamond in them, like Big L, I was like, oh my god, like this is organized. Like this, all these fucking cool dudes know exactly what they're doing. Each, you could. They was in the crib. You could see them like going through records, pulling those a couple things. And it was like, ooh, like this is old heat. There's no dollar. This is not a dollar crate. Let me find some cheap. Nah, these guys is really once. This is like this as I guess like a Yo MTV rap show can be a life defining moment. It was. That shit was like I don't exactly know. I guess me knowing about records, tapes, and all that 80s stuff, already having records, it was kind of like, ooh, but this is easy to jump into. This is like those records are out there. I can do this. Like this
mm,
was probably the most like as far as like a game plan that was given to me, even though they wasn't saying like showing you how to make beats, how to dig. It was just like, yo, these are the coolest dudes in the world, and they pulling out Khan Comes to Harlem soundtrack. What the fuck is going on? What else is out there? So my stuff comes from that very strict tradition. Like I do, me being a DJ at the same time, I really was like, ooh, I'm gonna be serious about this. But then like being like sometimes quirky with it too. Like I think the whole electronic part of it, it was all part of it to me because sometimes like you could take like an old Show and AG record that's super traditional, and when you find the original, it's like this. What the fuck is that type of record? It could be a record that I use today for Lucid. So that led me
mm-hmm.
to like quirkier and quirkier territories. But to me, the line, the silver line is still come from that very super deep rooted traditional hip hop foundation. So, but the, what Elucid is seeing in my beats, a lot of people are they to them the line broke somewhere. That's my whole point. To them, they're like, nah, you
Mm.
oh nah you electro, or like yo you experiment. Like, they think I'm somewhere else. I'm like, nah, this is this is the baby. The baby's 65 years old. Like it doesn't look the same now.
The baby is 5 years old, dog.
Yeah, the baby's in a
That's
wheelchair, bro.
Benjamin Button shit.
Yeah, baby's in a wheelchair. He got one arm. It's not what you thought it was gonna be, but you keep applying the same. What else is out there? And like some cats take it to the where like, I now we dig in for the Bahamas island breaks, and I love shit like that too. Sometimes, like like dudes, the African funk shit. Like me, I'm like, I love certain other segments of it. Like namely, psychedelic things, shit that I feel could apply, and it's almost like cloth when you design um you into fashion and stuff like that, and you're like,
Hmm.
yeah, I can use this. It feels like for the next 3 4 years. It should cover the next 3 4 years. And then as you go, you start feeling, yeah, like this. Nah, this is too late. Yep, too late for this one. Too late. Maybe again in 10 years. And it's like fashion. It just rotates. And you use stuff from the past, and you try to, you know. I mean, it's funny. It's a whole. Sometimes I talk to different producers, and I speak that way, and they're like, almost like, yo, we good where we at. Why are you trying so hard to find the next shit? And I'm just
Mm.
like, the only
That's
shit the only shit I can say is like, I'm bored. I'm just bored, bro.
Yeah, man. But though that's to me like that's still like a tenet of rap, a tenet of hip hop.
Right,
Like you keep speaking on this digger's mentality, but like a major tenet of rap is to keep it fresh. It's to always come through with that new shit. Like
right.
just to be like, nigga, you ain't up on this. Like that's like
mm.
it's rap. Like you have to come through with them shit that nobody seen, nobody
Yup.
heard.
New
You know what I'm
sneakers.
saying? And like that sort of like mentality is really interesting because it pushes things toward innovation all the time. There's
Mm.
a problem with that in that like the innovation becomes so great, like the elders become forgotten. Things that are considered standard or traditional, like we kind of like lose things in this push towards innovation. So there's a conflict there. But yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. I'm with that. Like, yo, what's that next shit? Like, I love that. But yeah, Seb has never lost that. And that's that's constitution for me. So yeah, it's good to link up and connect over those points.
Yeah,
Makes
and
sense.
one of the other things, Elucid, you had chat when we were chatting about in that specific moment in 2022 about Bunny Chow was that it kind of highlighted something because you had also mentioned things that I truly had no idea because I'm not a producer. I don't understand how this works to that detail about the human elements that seem to always be at play with Sebb Bash, like how he overlays different supporting sounds, strings, synths, wind chimes, maybe. And I think it showed something about the process that I find really fascinating. I'm curious to hear both of your perspectives because, like, as both of you are very skilled in production, do you feel like what do you feel has more important for your development as a producer? Has it been like the technical aspects, all these things about how you can freak different sounds and kind of overlay them into a beat and make them sound really cool? Or has it been more just like honing in your taste and innately kind of like being able to understand, oh yeah, that's the special magic in a record. I can use that. And so tapping into your taste was more pure over time. Like which one you think has been more important?
I'll have to say the taste. The taste is what everything starts. I think it starts there. and then the technical things can happen after. But if you're super technical with no taste, it's bland food. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like you didn't. It's like a restaurant that buys shit
Yep.
at Cisco. You know what I mean? Like a restaurant supply store. And so versus like if you had taste, like you would know the farmer and you get your vegetables and your produce from this farm. Your food's gonna taste different from a restaurant that buys like French fries in a bag. Or you know what I'm saying? Let's like the taste is where the things start for me. Um so yeah. Let the producer speak more on that, I
No,
guess.
it's the same. It's the same. It's the same. I would say like what you call like taste is like almost freedom. I see more. I see more like the more I go, the more I'm like, oh, I'm just like back in the days, I do a beat in the MPC, and it had to be a 1 bar loop, a 2 bar loop, or a 4 bar loop, or maybe a 8 bar loop. All these multiples of two, and like an MC would tell you, all right, so yeah, you know how to do it. 8 16, 8 16, 8 16, 16. Like, it's like, and you would have to show up and those things would have to be done. Yeah, it's a 16. Yeah, it's a 16. And now it's like, who the fuck cares about a 16, man? Truthfully, like music is a bunch of it's almost like you put a sound down, you put the next sound down, and the next one is like it just gotta make sense to you in some form or fashion, but there's no rules. I felt that's the
Yeah.
shit that what you supposed to conquer. It's almost like when I listen to like regular, I'm not gonna say names, but dudes that are good out there, but that's been really, like mixtape, street rap, like just like like I'm not gonna say names, like the average rap mixtape. You never gonna hear like a 3 or like a 3.5, like, and it's like, man, like it's like life behind bars almost. A whole life of
Mm.
16s and 8s. Oh my God, that sounds so boring. So yeah, to me, like that's I feel that's what I look like, that freedom that you can gain, especially with samples, because you kind of like in prison with it with samples in the beginning. You have to take these sounds and fit them into this fucking machine that you lucky and happy to own, but you wanted it, but now it's like it's not. So you got to learn how to. I feel like I never learned. It's like over time, one day I just noticed, like, oh, I don't even give a fuck about the machine now. I just
Wow.
sound goes through it, things get made, but I'm not gonna make a beat in an MPC today. Like it
That's
makes no sense
interesting.
to me. Like if it's gonna end up getting mixed in a computer, then put it in the computer, see what happens. Like I ain't got no time to like make a beat in a sampler, dump it with MIDI. Like that's crazy to me. So I hate computers. They make me super nervous every time I wonder if it's gonna turn on. But this is the machine that made it possible for you to just kind of like throw sounds at the wall. It looks like a wall, you know. But I hate them though.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hate computers.
That's funny.
They
That's
get
funny.
they get warm. Oh my god, this is so.
They get warm.
They get warm, man.
They start humming and moaning when they
Yeah,
get warm.
They make a noise that you never
that's
heard
so funny.
before. What's that noise? The fuck?
That's so funny. Pardon the interruption, but if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe, like the video, and hit the bell as well. And if you're checking this out on podcast platforms, please follow the show, leave a rating, leave a review if possible. This will help the algorithm do its thing and get more people tapped in. Thank you so much. Now back to the show. So, moving to this new record, I guess you had to be there feels really tight knit. No rhyme or beat feels out of place or without a purpose. And I think it speaks to kind of the process that and the time that was put into creating it. So I'm curious to start, like, what was the like what was the first moment where it kind of changed from the, you guys are making music together to being like, let's make a collaborative album together? Like, what did that creative process look like over the past few years stitching this thing together?
Hmm. Yeah, we started with Stocking Caps, and then Bunny Chow, and I forget the other name. We did Sardonyx. Those songs of I Told Bessie. We did those, and then I think we just didn't make music for a little, like a few months, and then we just started like working again. And it's funny because like I forgot this fact, but like um, I had started Revelator, and then well, no, I think I had started. I guess you had to be here first, if I'm not mistaken. I started this first, um, and then started Revelator, and then I had to stop working on Revelator because I really wanted to get back into this. And it was like a switch up between the two records, but I eventually like stopped making this record to finish Revelator, and
Ah,
then go back. There's like a handful of songs that were made. Like First Light was included in that
yo,
first, I think,
did,
batch of songs that made the album. That I was just like, we've got something good going on here. Um, so yeah, First Light maybe, and then I can't remember the name of the other record, but yeah, it was that point where it's just like I'm ready to keep moving on this.
did Al suggest to you that we should do this? And at first, wasn't?
Absolutely,
Oh, okay.
absolutely.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
this
props
was
to
like
Al.
Haram era. We were just in the studio listening to shit, and a lot of the stuff he was playing, I just had like a immediate reaction. And the question was like, "Who made that?" It was like Sebb Bash, and that happened about 7 or 8 times. And then he was like, "Yo, Sebb Bash is the best. He's the best. He's the best." So I had to go see about it.
Bugging,
I had to go see it,
bugging
and
too.
that was it, man.
For the record,
That was
Al
that
is
was
the
that. Was,
best. Al is the best. It's a
you
battle.
guys are so
It's a
generous.
battle. To me, he's the best. It's a battle, but a weird battle. Like, you the best. Fuck you. Yeah, you the best, asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I was gonna say he whooped my ass so many times playing me some crazy shit. Come on, man. Whooped my ass.
I think you guys have both whooped each other's ass like several times, so I think it's even.
Yeah, but
Um,
yo, come on. I
and
like I beat his ass with like this cool loop that I found, and he beats my ass with fucking I don't know who on it. Like J Electronica, like some crazy. It's like, come on, it's not even comparable. It's not even
Yeah.
comparable, man.
Yeah, man. Think about like that taste thing again. I think it's like some credit to Seb Bash, and the way that he can arrange. Like, funny enough, like Seb, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel like on this record, how you hear the beats with my raps on top of it. That's how
Uh-huh.
I heard the beat the first time. A lot of the drops in there, they're already pretty much arranged. Like, is that true? I feel like you didn't do like much post production with the beats on here, right?
No, I did. I did.
Okay, I'm bugging.
It's not necessarily the drops, because a lot of times the drops are always in the original beat for some reason. That's
Yeah,
one weird thing that's totally different from back in the days. Back in the days, the drops they was the drops was the it was one of the most crucial moment of the session. All right, now we're doing drops, and pushing buttons and shit, and like, and then you might notice somebody else is doing the drop better than you. It's like, fuck it, you do the drop. Now it's like I just do the drop. I just do it off rip. Like, ooh, I feel like this is the moment, and then it gets
yeah,
recorded like that, and then it was the moment. And if it wasn't, then it becomes the moment, type shit.
straight up.
And
So it was good to write to the beat, knowing that the drop is there. Like, it
okay.
makes lines hit a certain way, you know.
absolutely.
I didn't even think of that. I'm here
Um,
thinking you don't care, but you actually.
I hear that. I mean, I'm from that era where drops were very important, and now like the drop means something completely different within music. But like That's like that's rap classic technique there. But yeah, it just makes lines hit harder when you want them to, taking away elements of the music.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so like, Elucid, with all your work, the lyrics are, layered and sprawling. They tend to cover a lot of ground. I'm curious with this record, especially because you're saying some of it or a lot of it was kind of created in parallel or in similar times to Revelator. What were the key kind of inspirations that influenced your mind state when creating this and kind of like governed where this album went lyrically?
I mean, life always, life and always. But knowing those two separate records running parallel, Revelator uh, was it felt like a lot of frustration within my own life, externally looking at the world, politically things that were going on, uh, and this record here was I want to say a victory lap, but not like a small victory, because this record is a lot about celebrating the small victories for me personally, right? Like I make music for a living. I make records. I tour the world. Um, it's pretty, I have a good time doing this thing. It's a blessed position to be in, like making music. And it's fun. I'm working with some of the most talented people in the world. I can call up some of the most talented people in the world and ask for a favor. I can, so it's like celebrating those small victories. I'm grabbing my dick a lot on this record, man. Like it's really the joy of like emceeing, like really delighting in the craft of rapping, and there's so much of that in this music, in this record. Like my politics pop up here and there, and like my worldview pops up here and there, but there's a lot of braggadocio in there to me that I hear and feel, and I'm definitely grabbing my dick in celebration of all the small victories, because like shit is very fucked up out here for many of us, you know what I'm saying? But it's also important to like take those moments to celebrate ourselves, I think, in the midst of everything that's happening. Like we always need to take a moment to like laugh, joke, talk shit, get drunk, be high, like whatever that is for you, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that became like the inspiration in this record, in the creation of this record here.
Yeah, you can really feel it.
It's so crazy you say that, man. You know why?
Why?
Because I always feel like no matter what I do, there's always in all these songs, like if I had to like qualify it, like find kind of like a thread, there's kind of like a lot of them have this kind of like celebratory aspect to them. And some shit about it that
Mm,
makes it like hopeful, a little sad, all these different emotions, right? But a lot of time it has that subtle, but we will get through it thing to them, kind of
Mm.
like I feel that's how I select shit sometimes. It's like, ooh, like I love it musically, or like I love these tones, and then like it ends up being this quiet celebration. Like, cause like though this
yeah.
is what carefully selected sounds does when you put them together. It's like wow, because you can't forget you picking those moments done by
Mm,
these incredible artists from the past, and you can tell like
yeah.
yeah, they had those kind of moments themselves. Like it's like wow, like everybody's biting their lip when this shit happens, and it might be a spiritual moment to them. It might be, and you catching that, and you just
That's ill.
So what you're saying is like
I
so
never really
beautiful.
thought about that about sampling, but you're right. Right, like the ear for a sample is like picking your favorite,
Yeah.
or maybe the best part, best the peak of a record. You know what I mean? If you can imagine what the musicians might have been feeling like as they were playing like this peak moment, like that's ill. You're starting there. That's your starting point, and then you just
Right.
collage and put together, add up, subtract.
Not to mention that sometimes it might be the best song or the only song on a bad album, and you're really zooming in on this one. It's so crazy to me. Like I believe we make some of the easiest and most difficult music. Rap music is the easiest and hardest music to do in the world. It's easy to
Mm,
make bad rap music. It's incredibly hard to make good rap music now. To me, maybe I'm
mm.
wrong.
I
It's
second
hard.
that.
It's hard for me
Yeah,
to do.
sense. Yeah, this album really does feel way less agitated and chaotic, as you were saying earlier, than Revelator. And there's like that playfulness, the braggadocio, the humor, that feeling of joy. I think I'm really glad you already kind of preempted that, because that's what I get from this album. It's mirrored in the music
Yeah.
that Sebb Bash created for it too. Like you have that line on "Fainting Goats," which I just think is like that one's where you just feel like you can't help but smile when you're like, I show up every day, I make my woman smile. My toddler been saying to me, "Happy Father's Day" for a month now. Like that's it
Yeah.
doesn't really get much better than that. It just sounds like you're in a good place on this album, and it's just really like heartwarming to see.
Fire. Yo, thanks, man. But it's just like, it all starts with the beats. And, the way that Seb works, he has expensive ears. So it's like if he's choosing a sample, if he's actually going to use a sample, it's something that's mad lush. It's a vibrant color, and then he'll pair it with synthesizers and whatever, and it's just like it's warm, like a fucking hug. You know what I'm saying? So when I start with that as the bed, then it's only up from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that keeping with that idea of that feeling of that joy, I'm thinking of the title and like the meaning my mind kind of went to when I derive from it,
Yeah.
because that title's like, talking about a lived experience that can't be fully translated. Was there some kind of like you just had to be there moment or experience from the past that you were trying to conjure up for this album? Or was there just like, or was that you just had to be there experience supposed to be the act of listening to this album? Like we're blessed to witness this sublime creativity. Like,
I think it could be all of those. I think it could be all of those because it started off a little differently. Like when I first had the idea for it, just like I feel like I might have been trying to explain like the Coliseum to someone, which is now like it's shuttered, it's closed as of like a month ago. And by extension, like New York City and how like much this city has changed even in the past 10 years, but Brooklyn specifically in the past 20 years, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, the past 20, 25 years. Like it's crazy. Like we used to sell crack out of here, and now you can buy a $50 entree of like seafood in the same fucking building. Like people like were like shooting up and died in this apartment, and now it's $5,000 a month. You know what I mean? It's just like, and sometimes just growing growing older and just trying to explain the significance of a place or a person or an event to somebody that's maybe like 20 years younger than you, sometimes like you can hit some points, but sometimes maybe it's just the way that I'm telling the story, right? Sometimes you could just look, you could tell somebody something and I would just see like maybe the eyes sort of glaze over with maybe like disinterest or maybe it's confusion or maybe it's, I don't know, but like trying to really hone in on the significance of like a person, place, event, uh, so long after it's happened. It's hard sometimes, you know what I mean? Even my own memory can get fuzzy and things sort of jumble together. And was that real or was that a myth? We don't know, but if you were there, like you remember that feeling. You remember that, and like that's the thing that I'm walking with. So
mm,
that's where like I think the record kind of started, like this feeling of just like uh I was there and this is how it felt when I was doing this. And I hope that kind of translates through with this record here. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I made this record. I don't know how long we took making this record, but we're channeling like real moments in time and a really honest way, in a way that just felt like uplifting for me. And because of the sound bed that Seb provided, it's different. It's different for me. So yeah, I guess you had to be there. I
mm,
think it maybe even speaks to like my place, our place. I say our, I'm thinking about Woods because we do this thing together as Arm and Hammer. But like thinking about like where we would have been because we were doing nothing like other than working on our craft, beginning to like really hone in on our craft 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when cats would just love to get like a little independent record deal and sell some vinyl with Land Speed Records, and independent artists were able to make a really good living just selling vinyl in
Land
the same
speed.
way that we're doing right now, right? With these same sorts of out there kind of like rap styles that like commercially would be like, a major record label would be like, I don't know, guys, like this will never actually work.
Hmm.
Eh. But like here we are doing that thing that people said was maybe disposable. Nobody wants to hear it. And like who knows what will happen in the future. But it's like we're doing it, and we're documenting that it's been done. We're doing it now. And if you were in the future and you wanted to do it and someone told you that you couldn't, like here it is. You really had to be here, you know, to see that is for real. But yeah, hopefully this documents that.
Yeah, that's beautifully well said. And yeah, like I think there's stuff about the where rap is that I'm curious, like where rap is now versus before, that I'm curious to know your thoughts on and your place within that kind of zeitgeist. But first I wanted to kind of finish off that point about like how this record sounds, in the sense of like, Seb, was the kind of guiding light for you like sound wise for this album about making it lush, as we were saying earlier? Like, how did you tailor your production to Lucid's uniquely nimble style, and then also where the album was going from a lyrical perspective?
Um, I'm not gonna take credit. I'm not gonna take credit for too much of like a super game plan here, because it's more like I keep on looking for stuff. Like I get those good. Hopefully I'm inspired for as much time as possible without having those blocks, and I keep I keep making shit, and then I just send it. I'm not really doing anything in particular for anybody most of the times. Or I might just make do something and be like, oh, it sounds like you. I think that's the most
Hmm.
personal it can get, but I can't really. Let's put it this way: like, if you use sample, how you gonna say I made this for you? Like, it's just not. You taking the loop. Like, if I was a musician, I could say that. But yeah, I can't. I'm not really like a Taylor type of beat maker. It's more I do a bunch of shit and then I'm like, ooh, these 11 joints sound like a bunch of elucid beats. Let's see what he thinks. And
Hmm.
it's as simple as that, really.
Yeah. I think it really unlocked a lot of cool things. I think Elucid, as you were saying, it almost feels kind of interesting because of the last record you dropped as Arm& and Hammer, where you were saying, like with Mercy, you and Woods were on like your classic rap duo behaviors, and I kind of feel like, although this isn't a two-man show as MCs, I do feel like you're just putting on display like a love of the craft and really flexing your rap abilities very specifically. And I can only imagine how that was, inspired or influenced by the kind of sound bed, as you were saying, with Seb. And I just think it's like so palpable. Like you got that old school groove on was it I Say Self, like Sauce Money 98 flow. I have
Woo!
that line like I love the way you say that
Oh
too.
my
Like it's just
God.
like
That's a
it's
moment
just
right there.
fucking fire. So
Woo!
fire, man. So fire.
I feel like he raps like that though. Like elucid, like that's like on the last Arm& and Hammer. Now you're just going in. Like that's not me, or you on your I'm gonna kill this shit era. Like you're just
I
going
feel
crazy
that.
right now. Going crazy.
I'm personally committed myself these next few records like on some generational run shit. That's like at the forefront of my mind to like actually set it up for the next few things. And whatever you hear from me in the next few years is just like trust and believe. Like it's yeah, I'm on some other shit. I really am. I really am.
And like speaking of that run, like you were talking about it earlier about like where the industry was now or was before compared to now. Like with this new album, it's just another chapter in this run you've been on for so long now. On the Heels of Mercy, with what I think is a classic record and Revelator, Test Strips before that, Bessie before that. You get the picture I'm painting. You've just been on a run. Not only though of critical acclaim, but commercial success where, a fan base, your fan base is really starting to grow.
Yeah.
And so from being on the fringes of rap just a decade ago to, headlining tours, do you feel like this gradual rise in, I don't know, status or appeal has stemmed from potentially audiences finally being trained to kind of hear you and understand your art a certain way? Or do you just feel like the center of rap, or at least like the zeitgeist of the current indie rap scene, has just shifted more toward that avant-garde world you and
Mm.
others in the Backwoodz cinematic universe have built?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure like how the sands shift. Like, yeah, because I have really haven't changed anything in my music. If anything, my output has gotten, the output has raised. I'm working with different people, but I don't think that the music has really shifted. I've been doing the thing and mining this thing for a while now. So maybe the world has changed in a way. Maybe people want different things. We have so much. Maybe people are just tired of being fed whatever, and maybe people want to venture out on their own and find things that speak to them in those ways, right? Because we have so much. So it's like you have it and then you just be like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I like this. That's cool. Keep that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. So it's like everyone's curating their own sort of like experience through entertainment or through media. And maybe people are finding it that way. Um, People like shit for the strangest reasons. And for those reasons, sometimes I don't know, sometimes I don't care, but sometimes I have asked, like why? What do you get out of this sort of music? You get some of the interesting, very interesting stories,
Why do you
but
like my music, man? What the fuck is wrong
like,
with
what
you?
do you get out of it? Yeah, because I mean, just like I think maybe like the optics, people that come to the shows. I don't know who's going to come to the show, right? Like I don't know how many people. I don't like. I could ask, but I don't like to know how many tickets were sold tonight. So I don't know who's going to be in the building. What's that room going to look like when I step out on stage, right? Like I like that surprise. Um,
Mm.
I like that surprise, and then at the merch table, just seeing like who approaches and who speaks. Like sometimes you don't like, wow, like I wouldn't expect you to be here, but here you are, and that's a fly type of feeling. So yeah, I'm not sure what actually happened. Well, shout out to Tebe because shout out to Tebe, shout out to Alchemist, Earl Sweatshirt and Alchemist because like a song like "Falling Out the Sky" became like a bridge for so many
Mm.
people to reach the Arm and Hammer universe. And from there, it just the roads opened up. So yeah, that was really what I think was like the point where like all of a sudden like we're doing shows and literal 14-year-olds are showing up with their nannies
Hmm.
at an Arm and Hammer concert. You know what I mean? Like strange shit. Strange.
Yeah. So after creating this labor of love, and I guess you had to be there, you have this 48 hours EP, currently a vinyl only additional project you two
Mhm.
created as this like unfiltered post album burst of creativity in just 48 hours in Sebb's studio. What made the experience of creating in this space and within this kind of type of time constraint so special? Like, how do you feel the end result was uniquely distinct to the original album that you created?
Man, it was exciting to be in the same room with Seth finally to make music. He had been to New York a couple times. We'd hung out, got bagels, smoked in the
Paris.
park. You know what I mean? Like it turned out like we had mutual friends. Remember, at a certain point in time, like he came out. We were hanging out with our friend Wally, and Wali's kid was in the same class as my kid, and it's just like
Yes.
it's a very interesting connection. It was very easy.
Wally, what up? What up? What up? What up?
Yeah, man. So it was just like interesting and dope experience to like see the online cyber connection translate in real time while we were in the studio in Switzerland. But it was funny though because I've said if you remember the first day I came out there, like we're gonna work, and I didn't do anything. I didn't. I didn't
Man.
write shit. I didn't record nothing. No mics were turned on, and yeah, we just did nothing. But I just listened. I think it was just more of like trying to like figure out which way to attack this thing. So we wasted 24 hours. We
Of the
wasted 24
48?
hours. Yeah, totally. I
Man,
wasted 24
nah,
hours in terms of like
nah.
recording.
You said you was gonna go and ride in at the hotel. It wasn't
I
like
was
a
gonna write
waste.
at the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote at the hotel, and then I came back, and he had made some sound things. We went through records and picked out what we were gonna do, what we wanted to do, try and do, and
No, that was day one. That was day one.
that was
We
day one.
picked a bunch of shit,
Hmm.
and then I started like I had no clue what was going on. I was like super disappointed in one sense. I was like I'm ready to go, like
Yeah.
on the starting blocks, like okay, like and this dude is like, yeah, yeah, I'm going back to the hotel.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
like,
need. I need to strategize. I need to strategize what's going to happen. And I like to always start with the music. So now that I had the music, went back to the hotel, and it's like, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And then when I get there tomorrow, we'll just like turn the mic on and we'll figure it out as we go along. And
yeah,
that was the process. It was like once we turned the mic on, though, Seb, I feel like we just everything was just like run away to the finish line. We
right.
got a lot, we got
Because
so much accomplished.
I think I must have spent a good portion of the night just because how many beats? I think I made one, two. I think half of the yeah. I made new stuff for half of the I guess the project. I don't know how you call it for half the thing that day, that night, and then I had like I guess three beats that was like already pre-made.
Hmm.
But
How long, like, I guess this is funny because I've like obviously I haven't heard it, and it's gonna come, I think, in the mail maybe in like April at some point, a month from now at earliest.
Uh,
What can people expect as far as the sound? Is it like quite different than I guess Yet to Be There? Is there a different feel to it, or how long is it? Like anything you can share about it?
well, for one thing, it's like a single track.
Oh, okay.
It's a single track, and let me see the track. I mean,
it's a single track. That's six
maybe
tracks.
like 15 minutes,
Nice.
Yep,
something like that.
15
15,
minutes.
20 minutes, single track joint. Many songs in the middle, collages, samples, strange textures, all the best things, But yeah, it sounds and it feels completely independent of the standard LP. Um, and I love that. I love that. So it made it a bonus feel. It's a deluxe version. It sounds nothing like it's really two separate albums. So yeah, it was great to feel that energy connection.
But I want to say, I think the what made it what it is I just couldn't see just more songs. It's like, ah, yeah, we got 12 songs. We're just gonna do more songs. It had to be something different, at least a little bit. And I just went to the. I think in my mind, I always want to do shit that's a little bit not disrespectful, but like sort of like when you listen to old Frank Zappa record and you get those collages and those maybe like political statements, just kind of like shit that feels like this person is trying to tell you something with the words or with the attitude of how it's put together. Just I think that's what I like about it. It has this kind of like attitude, and it's a little bit. I want to say, although you find those same elements on the um I guess regular
The original LP, yeah.
original LP, this one feels a little bit more just because of the I guess there's a couple beats I made with just guitars. I think when Elucid came through, I just started making beats with just not 100% guitars, obviously, but 80% as far as like the bulk of the music on top of the
Wow.
drums. And those were sounding like a new kind of like I don't know. It was just new to me. So I think having those couple beats on there, it gave it like a little bit of a sound of what, because like the beats that from the album are probably 2 years old by now, 3 years old. So this was kind of like a little bit of an upgrade, but not really. Just like a slightly different approach, very
Yeah,
slight. But it's not like you get a rock album and a jazz album. It's like it's the same
Mm-hmm.
basic attitude, just a little bit more um adventurous maybe on the EP.
true.
Word. All right, so like what can people look for as far as, merch, tour dates, anything else maybe in the hopper as far as music goes, that they can expect from the both of you?
Ah, man. Tour is yet to be determined. We'd love to make that happen. Arm and Hammer is doing a lot of touring, and I would like to figure out how we can do it, Seb. What
Yes.
makes sense? But I feel like we talked this past week. Um, yes, that might pop up on a couple of European dates. That'll be tight.
Hmm.
Um, we'll have some merch out here, tour exclusive merch, always some apparel and the deluxe version of the record, which I'm so proud to to mention that Jamel Shabazz, the legendary New York City photographer, um, we were able to license one of his photos for the cover of I Guess You Had to Be There. Uh, so that's
Crazy.
legendary. It also fits into this. We've been talking about a lot about old school rap and what have you, but like Jamel Shabazz is New York City's number one documentarian of 1980s New York City culture, which includes like hip hop culture. So it's just like when you see his
Sick.
photos, it's so distinct. Like when you look at the fashion, people wearing the big shell toe Adidas with the fat laces, and the way cats are wearing the wallabies, and it's just like, yeah, it just fits. It fits the vibe of this retro futuristic type of record. Because I still wear wallabies, god damn it. And yeah, man, but yeah, it's a lot to be determined in terms of like tour and merch. Um, but yeah, we hope that y'all can listen to and love and appreciate this record that we put out.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Seb, anything you need to add?
Uh, Not really. But on the merch side of things, I'm always trying to release a new 45 here and there. I got this new one with my man Vic Spencer coming out.
Oh, cool.
Um, a bunch of others. Just yeah, pretty much. This is what I like to do. Little donuts, quick fast, Jamaican style. Psh, psh. I
Mm.
wish I could do more. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm focused on. Like anything that resembles a vinyl that I can do. It's actually hard for me. I'm realizing it's actually it's a task. It's a task. There's a lot of, all these different steps, making a beat, getting somebody to put some vocals on it, mixing, mastering, calling the plant. Like
No, it's
it's
a whole process.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just being satisfied with it too. Making vinyl is difficult, man. Shit.
Hmm. Well, I'm excited to hear that, and I'm really excited to, for everybody to hear the record, but then also this 48 hours thing. I'm super ecstatic to hear that. But yeah, you guys are just like such a perfect match, and I think this, I guess you had to be there, was somehow met, exceeded expectations that I had that were super high. It's my current album of the year.
What?
Um,
Come on.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it's been a really strong year. You got that new Rock Marcy, you got that Gina album,
Oh,
that
shout out Gina.
sideshow thing.
Gina.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's been a strong ass year to start the first few months, but seriously, this has been my favorite. And Seb, glad to have you finally on the show first time. Been
Thank you,
wanting to
man. Thank you. Thank you.
chop it up with you for a while, and always elucid. Always a pleasure to
Oh
catch
yeah,
up
thanks
and
for that.
get your insight on another, incredible record to add to the catalog that's, becoming quite legendary. So,
Oh, yeah.
thank you so much for coming on, both of you. I hope you enjoyed this, as much as I did.
Thanks, man. Always good to
Yeah, I
talk to
did.
you, Rohan.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rap Music Plug podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to not only support the show, but join the fastest growing community of like-minded indie rap fans, go to patreon.com, search for the Rap Music Plug podcast, and become a patron. You will gain access to an exclusive patron-only Discord that me and 70 plus people engage with on the regular, as well as other patron-only benefits such as exclusive access to the iconic RMPP listening parties, album recommendations, and much more. So if you have any questions about any of the Patreon stuff, or just want to keep tabs on the show, interact with me on rap music and all the great stuff that we can talk about, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at rapmusicplugpod, or shoot me an email at qlctv.podcast@gmail.com. You can also rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify as well. But that's enough self-promotion for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace.